Day it is. Rockies and Phillies set to go. And the first pitch of the ball game from Aaron Harang misses outside on Charlie Blackmon, ball one. Well, I was worried about the Philly fanatic. He didn't step on it on his little scooter. He wasn't going to get off the field.
He had to fly around the outfield warning track.
And that pitch misses. 2-0.
Harang's anxious to get this 3 o'clock game underway.
86 degrees, warm and mostly sunny. Saturday afternoon in the city of brotherly love. And that pitch is fouled off.
And the wind is blowing straight out today, and the ball was jumping during batting practice. Better keep it low in the zone.
Yep, hot and humid. Here's the 2-1. And that ball pulled sharply at Ryan Howard, and there's one out. And let's take a look at the Southwest batting order for Walt Weiss this afternoon. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. DJ LeMahieu hitting .329. He will bat second. And then Tulowitzki with the 4 hits yesterday. Cargo had a knock. Nolan Arenado at .280. Ben Paulson, big 2-run home run late to give the Rockies some breathing room last night. Michael McHenry will do the catching. He'll bat seventh. Brandon Barnes in left field. And Eddie Butler's on the mound. Aaron Harang has been outstanding this year. He's been one of the best starting pitchers in baseball. Philadelphia has a poor record of 19-31, but it's not because of the guy who started last night, Cole Hamels, or this 37-year-old.
How about a 193 average for Aaron Harang? That's the eighth lowest in the major leagues. And when you think about it, at Citizens Bank, it's a tough ballpark. The ball flies. He's 2-1 with the .61 ERA. 22 strikeouts and 29 in the third innings pitched here for Aaron Harang.
Well, let's take a look at our Hyundai League leaders. And Aaron Harang has the lowest home ERA that Jeff alluded to in baseball. Alfredo Simon of the Tigers is next, and then Tim Lincecum, a reinvigorated Tim Lincecum, is third in home ERA. And again, to me, it always is interesting when you see a guy putting those kind of pitching numbers up in what historically has been known as a big offensive ballpark.
When he has a career ERA of 4.14. I mean, so that tells you how well he has been pitching. And then I go back to last year. Fernandez had a low ERA for Miami in his first home starts, a .33 ERA before he was injured.
Doesn't throw real hard anymore, but he gets a lot of chase pitches up in the strike zone. He gets the hitters to chase above the letters.
And for a fastball that is below major league average, it's reminiscent of a Chris Young. But then again, Aaron Harang's about 6'7".
And Chris Young's about 6'10", so similar in stature on the mound. 3-2 on DJ. And this is popped up center field. Ben Revere makes the catch. Ben was in right field yesterday. Odubel Herrera being given the afternoon off. Here's Philadelphia. They have Cody Ashe in left field again. Ben Revere's at center. Jeff Francoeur's getting the start in right. Franco, Galvis, Utley, and Howard in the infield. And Chooch behind the plate, Carlos Ruiz. 2 outs, nobody on. Troy Tulowitzki broke out yesterday with a pair of solo home runs against Cole Hamels, who otherwise was terrific in 117 pitches, a season high. And then Tulo also added a couple of singles later on in the ball game.
Well, and to jump the average to 285, but this set the tone for the ball game in the Rockies last night when he took that pitch deep. And it was two different styles. And one was down more, and then he went with the elevated fastball on the second one. Troy said, it doesn't matter, I'm going to hit both of them out.
And what I liked about Hamels after the game, because so often we describe balls that are hit out of the ballpark as mistake pitches. Hamels said one was a mistake pitch, the other one I threw it where I wanted to, and he hit it out. Guess what? He's pretty good.
Tip your cap. I mean, that's what you have to do. And I was talking to Brandon Barnes around the batting cage today, and he was saying the same thing about Cole Hamels, that his changeup is as filthy as there is in the game. He goes, I might have had one pitch to hit all night long, and I missed it. I popped it up to Chase Utley.
Cole Hamels was terrific yesterday. Chad Bettis was just better. 2-2.
Yes, he was.
And that's what makes what Bettis did that much more special. When you can throw that kind of game but beat another ace, one of the best pitchers in baseball, in their yard.
It's got to boost your confidence. Not that he was lacking any in the last 2 games. He shouldn't be. But then when you beat a premier pitcher, he said, yeah, I did that too.
Harang gets the strike out of Tulowitzki. It's a 1-2-3 beginning for Aaron Harang. Ball today for the Rockies, not Jorge De La Rosa. He's been pushed back a few days again with that tender finger. He's got a cut on it, and they want it to heal completely before he starts another ball game. Here's the Southwest batting order for Ryan Sandberg this afternoon. Freddie Galvis will bat second. He has slipped under 300 for the first time in a long time. Chase Utley's next, and Ryan Howard, Maikel Franco. Cody Ashley broke up the no-hitter in the 8th last night. Jeff Francoeur, Carlos Ruiz, he had the other hit for Philadelphia last night as they were 2 hit by Chad Bettis and John Axford. Eddie Butler making his 10th start of the year, his 13th career start. He faced the Phillies 10 days ago, and too many pitches that day, Jeff.
Well, and he was also hurt by his own lack of defense. He made 2 errors in that game. A couple throwovers to first base, allowed 2 unearned runs. Eddie in his last start against Cincinnati, 6 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, but he commanded the zone better that ball game against the Reds than he had in a while. I think one thing he is also looking forward to is not having to face the Dodgers. 3 out of his 9 starts this year have been against LA, so now he gets out of the division going against the National League East.
This ball softly lined to second. DJ's got it. 1 out. And when he faces the Dodgers, I know at least twice he is matched up with Clayton Kershaw.
And the game that he matched up with the Phillies back in Colorado, it was against Severino Gonzalez, the rookie for Philadelphia, who they are skipping in the rotation because he was lined up to pitch tomorrow. They decided that when they had an off day, skip him and push him back because he's the youngster.
Freddie Galvis will step up. Switch hitter in from the left side. He's hitting .256 from the left side versus .425 from the right side in 40 at bats.
Robbed of a couple hits last night in right center field. One by Brandon Barnes, the other by Charlie Blackmon.
Phillies are dead last in the National League in runs scored. And over their last 9 games, they have scored a whopping 16 runs. And they're in the midst of a 5-game losing streak.
They've been shut out 6 times on the season, and 19 other times they scored 2 or fewer runs.
Well, the 9th inning yesterday, they got an unearned run. That broke a string of 19 innings without scoring. Another play for DJ, 2 outs. Here are the gloves behind Eddie Butler this afternoon. Barnes is in left, Charlie Blackmon in center, Carlos Gonzalez is in right, Arenado, Tulowitzki, LeMahieu, and Ben Paulson in the infield. Michael McHenry is doing the catching. Some of you may recall that Nick Hundley got hit in the mask last night. We talked to Nick today. He's just fine. This was a planned start for McHenry, and then it will allow, day game basically after a night game, mid-afternoon start here at 3 o'clock locally. But Walt wanted to give Nick Hundley the day off, and then he'll start him tomorrow. And hopefully he'll be ready to go Monday also when the Rockies return home.
And that's the thing. Nick had 48 hours, then made a start. Now he'll have about 36 hours until he starts again, and then you have a doubleheader Tuesday where they're each going to play a game.
Chase Utley takes the breaking ball in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike on Utley.
And remember that Tuesday doubleheader, that's because of one of the rainouts we had against the Dodgers earlier this year. It's a 1 o'clock start and then a regularly scheduled 6:40 first pitch.
Kyle Kendrick on the left, Nick Hundley on the right. This is rough for Kyle. He's having a great year. This is pulled, knocked down by Paulson, and he won't have a play. Good job by Ben in that if that gets by him, it's in all likelihood a double.
Well, we saw Ben make a play last night where he had to dive and then he fell on the bag, but this is hooking away from Ben and it went off the end of the glove and never settled into the webbing. Drew, you're right. If he doesn't need to knock that down, that's an easy stand-up double. And then depending on what happens in the corner, it might be a triple.
So Ryan Howard comes up. He's 0 for his last 12. And that is a foul ball. And for Kyle Kendrick, it's kind of been tough because Kendrick spent his entire career with Philadelphia, grew up as a Philly, very close friends still within the Phillies organization. He spent a long time visiting with Ryan Howard when they were out in Denver, yet he doesn't get to face him, did not face him in the 4-game series. He was the odd man out. He's the one starter who didn't face them, and he's not going to face him in this 3-game series.
That's a tough spot to be in because you want to go against your buddies. You want to go against the club that drafted you, where you won 74 ball games as a 7th-round pick. But at the same time, it's like, oh, it'd be nice not to have to worry about going out there and pitching against those guys. So I understand both sides of it, where he sits. But I think the competitor in me would want to get that ball and say, here. This is what you're missing.
Yeah, and that's what he felt and how he feels about it. But his number just in the alignment did not come up, so he will start when the Rockies get back home against the Dodgers. Gets to spectate here in Philadelphia. 2-1 on Howard, 2 outs. Utley at first, swung on and missed. Something off. It's 2-2 on big Ryan Howard, a Midwestern kid, grew up in St. Louis.
That's why there's some talk maybe that Ryan's going to go back with the Cardinals with Matt Adams being out for probably the rest of the year.
3-2. Utley will be off. And Paulson will go and play behind Chase Utley.
He did the right thing too. He made sure he got Eddie's attention to let him know that's what he was doing, that he will be backing up. Don't throw over.
This is line to right, and it's in that difficult area with Utley moving. He could score, and he will. Utley does not score on that unless he's moving. So Ryan Howard gives the Phillies an early 1-0 lead on a double to the right field corner.
And because of the 3-2 count, Chase Utley, it takes off on this pitch. And it's an inside pitch. Ryan Howard down and in. He just goes down and gets it. Now watch where Chase Utley is when this ball hits the ground. See, the ball's still in the air, but Utley's 3 strides around second base. The ball dropped on the ground. Utley was already making his turn. So that's what allowed him to score all the way from first base.
Maikel Franco. A big swing and a foul tip. It's 0-1. Didn't look like that pitch that Eddie threw was that bad a pitch. It was well located.
Oh, Ryan Howard's a good hitter. I mean, that's you have to tip their cap. They practice too, and that's what Ryan did. He went down and got that pitch. Now that is the area that he likes to swing, and it's down and into a left-hander.
1 ball, 1 strike. This is an aggressive team. So important for Eddie to get some short innings, some quick outs. Too often this year, if you followed the Rockies, you've seen Eddie have 25, 30 pitch innings. It's in there, 1-2. Howard's 15th RBI in the month of May. 1-2. It's way outside. 2-2.
Chase Utley, when he was rounding the bag, okay, he sees the ball. He knows it's over his head, so he cuts it the corner of the inside part of the bag and never breaks stride when he hits third base. It doesn't matter whether you hit it with your right foot or your left foot. Don't break stride and just use the momentum of the bag to turn you and make it a quicker turn.
2-2. And McHenry coming back is not going to have a play. Cody Ashley's next. Hopefully that's next inning. 2 outs. 1 run in, and at second base, Ryan Howard. And it's a full count. By far, the Phillies, as I mentioned a short while ago, have scored the fewest runs in the National League. Not close. Cincinnati has scored 20 runs more than Philadelphia, and they're second from last. On the ground to third. Nolan's got it. And a good throw. In the inning with 2 outs, a single by Utley and a double by Howard gives the Phillies a 1-0 advantage as we go to inning number 2. Toyota stores. Let's go places. By the Colorado Lottery, expect the unexpected. And by Southwest Airlines, book your low fare now at southwest.com. I don't care what the sport is. It's always good to tailgate. And if you have that kind of operation going off the back of your truck or car, you're looking for every excuse to tailgate. Summer is upon us. Second to last day in the month of May. Cargo leading off in the top of the second inning. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, and Mark Stout. Cargo had a base hit last night's 4-1 victory for the Rockies over Philadelphia. He's always hit Aaron Harang pretty well.
He's always hit the Phillies well. 347 career average. So that's where you disappeared to for a half hour today. You were out
tailgating.
You were out tailgating. Okay. Appreciate the invite.
Sent you a text. Went unanswered. That is a strike on the inside corner. Fastball at 88. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Carlos.
Yeah.
Jealous, aren't you?
I am.
Cargo bounces this one.
Well, with all the arenas around here, you got the football field, the baseball field. They got a lot of parking lots to be able to tailgate here.
Everything's right here in the same neighborhood.
The Wells Fargo Arena.
Yeah. Sixers and Flyers play right next door. Here's the 1-2. Outside, 2-2.
Just across the parking lots where DU won the national championship for lacrosse.
Yep, at Franklin, at Lincoln Financial. Cargo hits a high fly ball to shallow center. Rockies fans, join in on the conversation. Send us your thoughts and photos via Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Just use the hashtag Toyota Talk. This is good news. We see a tweet here. Jim Tracy will manage Team USA at the Pan American Games. It's great news. Our old friend Trace splitting time between Ohio and Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, they'll have fun with those young ball players and telling them some stories.
Well, he's one of our favorite storytellers that we've met in the game of baseball. Here's the 0-1 outside, 1-1 on Nolan. Nolan 0 for 4 yesterday. He came up with runners at first and second in the 9th inning. 2 at a base hit. Cargo had walked, and he lined into a double play. And you thought, oh boy, there goes opportunity to get some insurance runs for John Axford. It was 2-0 game, and then Ben Paulson came up behind him and went pow.
I've got your back.
Yep, hit one out, and that was big. It allowed, I think, Walt to relax a little bit more on that bench.
Can managers ever relax? Maybe if the score's 10-0
well,
with 2 outs in the 9th.
You got a couple things going last night. You played in a couple of Nolan Ryan's no-hitters. You have, you know, the natural butterflies of operating a game if you're a manager, but then it was, I don't want to say complicated. In a good way, it was complicated by what was going on with Chad Bettis. Perfect through 6 and the no-hitter. But the bottom line for Walt, for all 25 guys who play in that dugout is to win the baseball game. And
it's a close game.
You're a bloop and a blast, as they say away. This ball's tagged to left center field. Get up and get out. Nolan's done it again. His 11th home run of the year. He ties up the baseball game. His 9th road home run of the year.
And he only had 2 road home runs last year.
Just the 3rd home run given up all year by Aaron Harang, one of the toughest guys so far in 2015 in baseball to trot around the bases against.
And I'll give you one other number. 23 RBIs of the 32 have been out on the road. Talk about going down and getting a pitch. Nolan does. And his body positioning when he hits this baseball is just classic, because he has to go down to kind of reach for it. But watch where his head takes the rest of his body as he starts to make this swing. His head drops down, but it travels the length of the barrel. I mean, his eyes are locked in the whole time.
This is popped up down the third base line. Franco and Galvis, and Franco's a lot bigger than Galvis, so not only did he make the catch, but he knocked the little guy down.
Well, coming into today for Nolan, we'll go back to him for a moment. Where his home runs were hit last year, now I know he has 11. We didn't update it after this last one, but coming into today's ball game, just 2 at home. And yeah, they're up to more to left center field, but if the pitcher's going to make a mistake, you hit it out wherever it's pitched. They're coming inside, they think you can't handle it. I'll show you. And he did again today against Aaron Harang.
On a pretty good curveball. 2 outs, a run in. Here's Mike McHenry. Mike gets a breaking ball for a strike. 11 home runs, 32 RBIs for the Rockies. Budding superstar at third base.
He's a team leader now by 9 RBIs over DJ LeMahieu, who has 23.
He's got 32 RBIs. Tulo and Cargo combined have 33 RBIs. Get those guys going, as we've been saying, and you really have a special offensive unit.
Well, Troy was doing his part last night with 2 home runs.
And they were big because they didn't come against the number 5 starter. They came against an ace who was on his game. And, you know, when Cole Hamels runs out there, or Zach Greinke, or Clayton Kershaw,
the Rockies will see again on Monday.
Right. You're not saying, well, boy, we probably put up a crooked number today. No, if you're going to win the game, it's probably going to be 2-1, 3-2, that type of thing.
And you're scratching and clawing for every run.
So to have one of your stars come out and say, listen, that guy's good, but I'm good too, and help you score runs, create runs, or in this case, he created them with 2 swings, 2 solo home runs for Troy. It's huge because Cole Hamels was outstanding yesterday.
And it was the first inning where you hit the first one. So you say, can put your mark on the game right then and jump out 1-0.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. McHenry against the 6'7" San Diego State product, Aaron Harang. Aaron went to school in his hometown. From the San Diego area, one of the most affable guys in baseball. You mentioned it, Huey, with Philadelphia in a transition mode. Cole Hamels is going to draw a great deal of interest, obviously. So will Aaron Harang around the trade deadline. This ball's belted to left field and deep. Got a chance. It'll fly. Mike McHenry hits a solo home run. His second of the year, and the Rockies take a 2-1 lead. That was a straight line drive that just had great carry.
Well, the Fort coming through, Fort McHenry today. He was hitting some long, monstrous home runs in batting practice. That was a changeup. And he's just so strong that he makes contact out in front and then just finishes the swing. Got back about 2 or 3 rows. He's hitting 8 out of his last 12 starts. Since April 22nd, he's now 10 for 31.
Well, that's 7 home runs the Rockies have gotten from their backstops. Brandon Barnes pops it up around Harang. Harang's thinking about catching it. Not allowed in the game of baseball at the major league level. Pitchers are not allowed to catch pop-ups. We've gone over that many, many times. Ryan Howard comes down and saves him the embarrassment of having to catch it. Rockies with a solo home run from Nolan Arenado, and then 2 doors down, Mike McHenry goes deep, 2-1, Colorado.
Well, the Rockies get a couple of homers from Nolan Arenado and Michael McHenry. They lead 2-1 as we go bottom 2. And I overheard a conversation, guys, with Michael McHenry and Chris Warren, who, of course, is in video and part of that department with the Rockies. And McHenry was talking about how at Citizens Bank Park in June of 2012, he had a great series. So I went and looked at it. He went 8 for 14 in that series. Before that series, he was hitting .201 career. After a .221 and since .245. So we had a conversation. This has popped up to the right side. And let's see the run. Barnes will get there. So I had a conversation with him. I said, what happened in that series? And he said Rod Barajas was on the DL or hurt coming back for the Pirates, and he got to play every day. And Jeff, you can speak on this. He said he finally had a good series and he felt like I belong in the majors, and he knew what his role was. He was going to be a backup, and he was going to be able to play that way and think of himself as a starter, but be a backup. And I know you guys have those kind of series all the time, but this was the one for him in 2012 here.
And there's always that defining moment as a player where you feel I belong. And until you do that, I don't think you're comfortable in your own skin. I remember the time for me, it was in Toronto before a game. I was running on the turf out there, and it just, I don't know what it was. I just said, yeah, I belong. I'm here for a reason. But that was a year and a half or so into my career before I actually felt that. People can tell you all they want. Oh, you're a big leaguer. You have the stuff. You can do it. But if you don't believe it in your own mind, it's not going to last forever.
And were there some places you didn't feel comfortable? Because he said right away, I don't feel comfortable in Detroit for a couple of reasons, but he likes it here. He likes it in Colorado, and that's just the makeup of ball players, right?
I didn't feel comfortable standing in the box in Fenway. To this day, I swear that the plate's off from the pitcher's mound.
Well, I think that's an interesting point that Mark brings up. This ball is tapped by Francoeur back at Eddie, and there's 2 outs. In golf, there are certain holes. You and I played golf here on this trip.
If that's what you want to call it.
Well, you brought my game down. I'm still mad at you about that. There are certain holes that set up to your eye. You stand on the tee box and you say, you know what, I'm going to stripe this drive. And there are other holes you stand on the tee box and you say, you know what, I know where I'm supposed to hit it, but it doesn't feel right.
Yeah,
it feels the same way in the batter's box in some stadiums.
It exactly does, and that's a great analogy and a comparison, because you'll hear PGA tours say that same thing. Oh, this course sets up to my eye.
I haven't seen a whole course that sets up to my eye yet. Or to a given hole.
There's a reason why you're an amateur and they're a pro. Okay? Just because you have the good clubs doesn't mean you're a pro.
Yeah. Amateurs being kind. That's fouled off by Carlos Ruiz.
Okay, just because you're a hack on the golf course.
That's better. More appropriate.
But there are other places where you don't think you'd be able to hit well, and it does. You just feel comfortable when you stand in the box or you're on the hill.
Here's the 0-2. And that is also a foul ball. Carlos Ruiz out of Panama. Hanging breaking ball that looked like strike 3. That was a mistake, but looked like it was in the zone.
Well, I think 2 people missed it. I mean, the home plate umpire, Scott Berry, and also by Ruiz, who should have hit that out.
And Scott Berry, we haven't ID'd our umpiring crew. Scott Berry behind home plate. Ted Barrett is the crew chief. He's at first. Chris Conroy at second. Angel Hernandez is at third. Here's Angel. Worked the plate last night. Also tossed out Ryan Sandberg late. 1-2. Look out. Just the second time Rhino's been run as a major league manager.
First time this year. He was upset about the check swing. And it goes back to the previous inning. There was a check swing called on their pinch hitter rough.
Eddie touching 96 there with the heater. Talking to Nick Cumley more about Chad Bettis last night. I said, what has been the difference the last 2-3 starts? And he said his fastball, his location. He said the velocity's picked up in the late movement, the late life on both sides of the plate. And that, of course, makes all your secondary stuff better. But he's throwing his secondary stuff for strikes. He's throwing
3 of them.
I mean, how many 2-0 changeups did we see last night?
And curveballs.
Curveball was just dastardly.
Chad's worked hard to change the mechanics and get where he needs to be.
95, swung on and missed. So Eddie Butler, a 1-2-3 second inning. Rockies leading on a pair of solo home runs, 2-1. Cold hard facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. Last night, Chad Bettis went 7 1/3 hitless innings, second longest no-hit effort in the 3,548 game history of the Colorado Rockies. Of course, Ubaldo's no-no in 2010 in April in Atlanta, the only no-hitter in Rockies history. Also the first rookie to carry a perfect game into the 7th for the Rockies.
As a manager, you're still thinking about, you're always going through worst case scenarios as a manager. she never get to enjoy anything. You're always thinking you're always thinking the worst, because you have to be prepared for it when it shows up. So it was really difficult for me to enjoy it. I mean, I knew obviously what was going on, but and I tried to take it in. But again, as you saw in the 8th, I had 2 guys going in the bullpen because you just don't know.
Ain't that the truth? And that's where, okay, if he's throwing a no-hitter and it's 10-0, you can sit back and enjoy it a little bit more. But as we were discussing an inning ago, you're talking about a bloop and a blast, and it's a tie game.
Yeah, especially after that error. You're going, well, it's still close. And that's why it wasn't until that extra home run by Ben Polson to put it up to 4-0 where you could feel like you could at least take a deep breath.
I love how Walt described that. Every manager, I'm sure, understands that. You always have to be thinking the worst is going to occur, and how do you prepare for it, and how do you guard against it? It's kind of like what we were discussing your golf game. Charlie Blackmon hit a sharp ground ball to first, leading off the ball game, and he takes a fastball well placed for a strike.
Very well played.
Tried. Didn't play much. Nothing was well played yesterday on the court. Better Thursday here.
Well, I was flying Thursday.
That's why it was better. You didn't take me down.
Bring you down. That's okay. I got big shoulders. I understand.
Yeah. 2 strikes on Charlie. Home run by Arenado tied it last inning, and then Mike McHenry hit one out to left as well to give the Rockies a 2-1 lead. Scott Barry had that. We had somebody else have that neck guard break on them recently.
Well, this was the neck guard that was made famous by Steve Yeager, the Dodger catcher. He had that after he had the incident with the part of the bat going into the throat area.
Charlie's got 26 home runs out of the leadoff spot the last year and a half. It's the highest mark in baseball. That's inside. Here's the list of guys that have hit home runs at the top of the lineup. Carlos Gomez, not a surprise. The great Milwaukee Brewer. Brian Dozier, heck of a player for the Twins, the surprising Twins.
Cole Calhoun, who I'm a big fan of for the Angels, on the list with 20.
You know what they did with Calhoun the other day? They have had such little production out of the cleanup spot for the Angels. They moved him for a game from the top spot in the lineup to the 4-hole.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
And Josh Hamilton, who used to occupy that space, went and hit a couple home runs last night for Texas against Boston. Here's the 3-2. And that ball's well hit left center field, and it is run down by Ben Revere.
And Charlie doesn't know that he caught it. He's still running around. Finally gets a signal from Angel Hernandez.
Yeah, he took a triple from Charlie.
Oh, Ben's playing left center field. Shade. There's still a long way to travel for that baseball. Reaches up.
He's fully extended.
He is, and that's the only way he could have done it. He couldn't lay out for it because it was so high. But Ben Revere is another player that's also been mentioned about being traded.
DJ's going to have that one
catch
drop.
That one.
Yeah, Ben Revere can't get that one. You may recall last night, DJ hit the ball on the button his first 2 times up, but he lined out once to Revere, who was in left field, and once to Herrera, who was in center field. Both times off the bat, you thought he had knocks.
And then this time he hits it off the end of the bat, drops it in front of Revere.
Tulowitzki in a horrendous slump now after going 4 for 4 last night. He punched out in his initial at bat.
We'll change it now.
On the outside corner.
And for Troy, that's the second time in his career that he's had 4 hits, including multi-home run games. Did it a couple years ago in Cincinnati when he was 5 for 5 and 2 home runs.
I'm sure will not be his last time. 30-year-old shortstop out of Long Beach State. Amazingly lightly recruited out of Northern California, where he was a baseball and basketball star.
I think some of those scouts are going back and reviewing the grades and the reports.
I've told this story before. I've asked Troy on a couple of different occasions, and some other people who are familiar with Northern California baseball, how he wasn't drafted out of high school. I mean, it's not, you know, some guys are late bloomers. There are a lot of guys who are late bloomers and don't get drafted until, you know, 3rd year of college, sometimes 4th senior signs in college. I mean, that's not unusual. But Troy was, I think he was 15-1 his junior year on the mound. He threw 90+ miles an hour. He had a lot of pop in high school.
Athletic, played basketball.
A tremendous basketball player. This is sharply hit. That's a good pickup by Franco. Low throw, and it's handled by Ryan Howard. Well, Franco, they say he's got great hands, and he displayed them there. Good pickup by Howard, as I mentioned. And we are through 2.5, 2-1 Colorado. Bat. It's located, that statue, right near the Philadelphia Museum of Art. I ran up those stairs a couple of times today.
Did you throw your arms up too?
I did not, because I don't want to be identified every time as just Joe Torres. Drew Goodman, Jeff Hewson, Mark Stout from Citizens Bank Park. The Rockies with a 2-1 lead. Bottom of the 3rd inning, Aaron Harang at the plate. And we have a special guest who joins us around this time every year. Identify in a moment, but first a 2-hopper to DJ LeMahieu, and Eddie Butler has Harang out of the way, and that'll bring up Ben Revere. We welcome to the booth Michael Milliken, who for 20 years has made this, I would say, your life's work to help raise money for prostate cancer research
and awareness. And the Rockies, it's been phenomenal, and those 2 home runs today were worth $20,000 for cancer research right there in the general Denver area.
That's terrific. What initially prompted you to get yourself involved in this cause, which unfortunately affects so many different men?
Well, the first issue is I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, in 1993. I had been funding cancer research of all kinds for 20 years, knew absolutely nothing about prostate cancer. They had given me 18 months to live, so we had to get to work. And the concept was come out to the ballpark, come out with your dad, co-worker, remind him to get checked. And it's one of the few sports events in the world where you can sit and actually talk to a person during the game. And we've also discovered over the years that a little sun is good for you from that standpoint.
Which is nice, too, that there's an actual day now for Major League Baseball where we make it a day where you're aware of what's going on with the blue wristbands and the logos on the shirt. And so I just think it's neat because my father-in-law battled prostate cancer, but he's cured and because they caught it early.
Well, I think one of the keys here, when we look back over the 20 years, the death rate is down almost 80% from projected levels. It's down almost 50% from where we were in 93. Yes, we've raised $45 million, but that's been far more important. 6 new drugs have been approved. And so, in many ways, it's become a chronic disease. Today, 99% of men diagnosed with prostate cancer live at least 5 years, and most live normal lives. And so Major League Baseball, the Rockies, this program over the last 20 years, and yes, on Father's Day, everyone's wearing their blue this June 17th. So we started this program. What's more exciting than a home run? So you can pledge money for home runs that are hit, and we're up to $10,000 for every Rocky home run that'll be hit between these special games today and June 15th to June 21st, and you can go to PCF.org, which stands for the Prostate Cancer Foundation.org, and learn all about it and pledge money. And one of the options you have is if you want to just pledge for Colorado home runs. Let's see, I think based on what we've been seeing here, maybe about 7 will happen. So if you wanted to give $100 for 7, that's $700. We will then match 100%, and then the institutions match, so you get 4 times your money.
That's tremendous. And there's you can also go to the website. There's another website you can go to as well.
HomeRunChallenge.org. And it's been amazing. I mean, I remember walking the ballparks in Colorado. We see all 30 teams play. We have a series of double headers where you have to go to 2 different cities. You don't get to stay in the same city each year.
There goes Revere, and he's going to swipe second base. That ball's up and in.
So how many times have the Rockies hit back-to-back home runs this year?
I think it's happened once.
One other time.
Yeah, today obviously there was one hitter separation, but historically it's happened quite a few times.
That is correct. I've been some of the great games in Colorado there where there's been 9 home runs hit in a game. Many years ago at one of the Father's Day games, I think the Rockies were down by 7 runs and came back and won. You had to stick around for the 11th inning to see that.
That's why you never leave a ball game early.
Not in Colorado.
You have a good memory, and you also recall one of the first times you went to see a game, not at Coors Field, but all the way back to the Mile High days, and you looked out there and you said, was it a football game?
70,000. And one of the things that really struck me were the things for children, to bring kids to the game.
Swung on and missed. Eddie Butler strikes out Freddie Galvis, second out, and that'll bring up Chase Utley.
And that's, one of the things I think that really helped baseball take off in Denver was first a stadium that was kid-friendly. When you wander around that ballpark today and you see in some of those snack stands the people serving you are low, so a 5-year-old can get eye contact with you. It just shows an intention to focusing on making an enjoyable experience for children. And I think that's part of being the American pastime.
It's a marvelous ballpark, and you and I were chatting for a moment before we came back from commercial break, and amazingly, and we say this all the time, amazingly, it's the 3rd oldest park now in the National League. It is a gorgeous venue. It is family friendly, and all the employees, and I know a lot of them watch when the Rockies certainly are out on the road. I've heard this so many times through the years how friendly everybody is who they encounter at the ballpark in the purple shirt. So a big tip of the cap to all the folks who work at Coors Field. And I'm glad you've noticed.
And we travel around to every single stadium, so you get that feeling. And that's been, I think, since it started in Colorado. It was really family oriented. And I think the decision, it's hard to believe that it's the third oldest stadium in the National League, but the decision to build it downtown really changed the city of Denver. That was a phenomenal decision, in my opinion.
No question about it. No question about it. 2-0 right now on Chase Utley. Rockies up 2-1, tying run at second, Revere, and that's in there. 2 balls and a strike.
So as you know, if you go back to the beginning of this program in the mid-90s, in that 2000 period, there were a lot of home runs hit.
Yes.
It somewhat tailed off a little bit from that season with McGuire and Soja, etc. Competing at the 70 level.
We have moved from the home run era for various reasons into another pitcher's era, reminiscent of the 70s, when you had to claw and scratch to come up with a few runs, and the Gibsons and the Seavers and the Carltons dominated. And now you're seeing the pitchers dominate once again.
So I think one of the messages we like to leave to everyone is just that, when we started this program 20 years ago, people say, well, gosh, you've been diagnosed with cancer. You hear the word cancer, you think, boy, this is death sentence. This is terrible. Today, 15 million Americans are living perfectly normal lives who've had cancer. And I think that's one of the real promises. I think if in baseball talk, we're in the 7th inning here with cancer. And so many of these cancers with immunology and precision medicine are on the verge of being solved with data. And so when I look back when we started 20 years ago to today, and as you know, a number of people in baseball played a really important role. Joe Torre, Dusty Baker, a number of people that had prostate cancer were very outspoken about it.
The key is to get checked.
Well, that's the first thing, plus these 6 new drugs. So if surgery doesn't work and radiation doesn't work, there's tremendous promises available to today. But that's the idea. Come out and get checked and enjoy the great American pastime.
So you're off to Boston for your next stop.
Boston, but if you have a day off, you're more than welcome to join us. We have actually our first in-city doubleheader coming up on the 10th with the Yankees and the Mets, followed by Atlanta and Tampa, and followed by St. Louis and then Chicago the same day. It's amazing when you look at how well Tampa has done. And I see now they're ranked 30th in terms of attendance in the league. Colorado, I see at the moment, is running 13th in attendance.
And I'll tell you what, thanks to all those brave folks who come out, because we went through the worst stretch. I've been out in Colorado 30 years. Huey's been out there a long time. It's the worst stretch of weather I've seen in Colorado in my 30 years, and yet to see that the Rockies are still in the top half of baseball, especially with school still going on until right around now. It's great. Here's the 1-2. One hopper at Tulowitzki right into the shift, and that'll end the inning. Michael Milken, it's always good to see you. We appreciate your great work with prostate cancer research and raising literally millions and millions of dollars.
We'll be looking forward to your blue wristbands on Father's Day. And don't forget homerunchallenge.org or bcf.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
game recap. The Rockies leading 2-1. Ryan Howard got the scoring started for the Phillies with an RBI 2-out double in the first. But then in the second, Nolan Arenado, 11th home run, 9 out on the road. Michael McHenry, 2 hitters later, hit one out to give the Rockies the lead. So we go to the 4th inning. Cargo will lead it off, then Arenado and Ben Paulson against Aaron Harang. Shift is on, and Cargo swings and misses. And it's 0-1. Cargo hit a fly ball to shallow center his first time up. He's always hit well against the Phillies.
The 3rd best career average with the guy that has over 100+ plate appearances. Ryan Braun's #1. Starlin Castro is 2nd.
Tulo's on that list also. Guys that have done a lot of damage against the Phillies. 1-2. And it's rolled to Utley. 1 out.
The first 10,000 fans through the gates on Wednesday, June 3rd, will receive a Rockies beach towel. It's sponsored by King Soopers.
And Cargo got out on that front side. Huey's hitting coaches like to say he gets disconnected a lot. That's why you see so many rollover ground balls.
Yeah, disconnected, meaning the hands get away from your body too much, and your body's out in front, and then your swing acts like a gate where it comes out and around instead of staying inside with your hands and staying inside the baseball.
Nolan takes down low. Here's the ball he hit out. It was a breaking ball. He went down and got. This was impressive.
It was, because it was down and away from him. But yet, talk about keeping your body and hands working together and not being disconnected. Nolan did that. Because if they were disconnected, that would have been a rollover ground ball.
.371 during the sunshine. Here's the 1-1 inside. Rockies came into the ball game despite playing about 3 games less than everybody else in the National League because of all the washouts. Where do they say he went? 2-2. That'll please Ryan Sandberg. Rockies 4th in the league in home runs.
I'm sure Ryan thinks it's equal.
It was in reference to last night. He got tossed for arguing about a couple of check swings that he felt didn't go the Phillies' way. A lot of guys, I'm sure you were this way, Huey. Guys like playing in the heat, getting a sweat going.
Oh, because you're not bundled up and have 3 layers on. That's why you like it. It doesn't take you long when you go out to do your sprints before the game, or you're throwing. To feel like you're already loose. You don't need an extra 10 minutes. That's the way the game's supposed to be played.
Strike 3, outside corner. Nolan took a second look, did not say anything to home plate umpire Scott Barry. 2 outs, nobody on it for Ben Paulson.
I'm sure Nolan thought this was not a strike, but from where Ruiz set up, that was a la Tony Pena. And the 3rd strike for Aaron Harang. And by Tony Pena, what I mean is he throws that right leg out, and then he'll just sit down and almost sit back on the left leg.
And strike 1 on Paulson. He fouled out to 3rd his first time up. That's where Franco knocked over Freddie Galvis, both going for the ball down the 3rd base line. There's a breaking ball down and in. Tough for a left-handed hitter to stay off that.
Well, looks inviting until you're halfway into your swing and you realize you're not getting it. And then you just hope you don't foul it off your right ankle. because that's all you can do. That's it. You can just hook that ball, and that's it.
And that's what he just did on that pitch. Yeah. Ben has hit 9 of his first 11 games since being called back from Albuquerque. He's been a big part of the recent run by the Rockies. And a foul tip, and that's held. So it's a 1-2-3 fourth inning for Aaron Harang. Rockies leading 2-1 at Citizens Bank Park.
I hadn't been myself all season. I think I talked about that earlier in the day. That's why I keep working, because I know I can turn it around, and I know somewhere in there's a good player. He just hasn't showed up yet.
So that was Troy, critical of himself. And, you know, guys, fans talk about Troy Tulowitzki. If you look at his 162-game average, it's basically 30, 100, and 300. He knows that better than any fan. And Drew and Jeff, you know that. That's how he thinks. He wants to even be better than that average. And that's what drives him.
Yeah, again, we chatted yesterday, Mark, and I know you spent some time with Troy yesterday. Here's a 2-0, by the way, on Maikel Franco. And that's foul back. And, you know, he said he spent the off day, as he does on occasion, hitting. And I said, you know what? That's why you are who you are. And he said, I'm trying to get back to who I am.
He's honest. He's always been honest.
Yep. It's going to be a tough play if it stays fair. Unfortunately, it makes a left turn. Even Nolan wouldn't have been able to throw Franco out in that situation. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
No, but to get back to Troy for a moment, Mark, players know. You don't need anybody to tell you how you're doing. Yeah, people want to say, oh, he's not the all-star that he was. He knows in the back of his mind what's going on, and that's why you work to get better each and every day.
I said to him in the postgame that Drew and Jeff were talking during the game about how you came and hit on your off day, and he right away said, I hit on almost all my off days. So he just, that's just what he does. And that's what he told you guys. You know, that's why, and Troy does not need us to be an apologist for him or his attorney. This ball pulled to Nolan. Good stop. Long throw. Perfect. Chest high. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But when people have come out, because Tulo has dealt with so many injuries and on occasion suggested, well, you know, he's always hurt, and thinking that there's some other reason he's gotten hurt than just he's had bad luck. This is one of the hardest working athletes I have ever been around, and that includes football, basketball, hockey,
baseball, period. He has a singular focus in life. Now he's got a family. He's got his son Taz. But what drives him every moment of the day, heck, he sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber.
Just try to stay healthy. It happens.
Good pickup by Paulson, and he's got the moving target that's Butler, and there's 2 outs.
You ask any player what's one of their biggest fears? Getting hurt. Every player would like to stay healthy their whole career. If it was that easy or that magical, there would be a pill developed where you say, "Oh, I'm going to take it, never have an injury."
And that's not to suggest that there have not been, players that have come along from time to time that maybe if things weren't going well, milked an injury a little bit longer than was necessary. That ain't that guy, though.
No,
that is not
at all.
That guy. Jeff Francoeur with 2 outs. Comebacker his first time. Notorious first pitch swinger.
Right on cue.
He's a guy from afar, Huey, that you're happy for his recent success, being able to stay in the game. Came up and talk of baseball. Big flashy guy who hit the long ball, could run. This ball's driven to deep right. Nice running catch by Cargo. And a quick 1-2-3 inning for Eddie Butler. We move on to inning number 5. Rockies 2 and the Philadelphia Phillies 1. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Mark Stout, and here's what Mike did his first time up, Huey.
I said, I've got a changeup that I'm going to hit out from Aaron Harang. But I like the end of this. Look at this young Phillies fan. Through this sea of arms, he reaches up. And Gerald, you're right. That was a great catch by that young Phillies fan. And I didn't see that originally. My son Kyle texted me. He said, "Did you see that catch?"
See all the big guys and the older guys. Everybody whiffed on it.
Sticking their arms out there. Kid brought his glove. I've got it. Home run. Now I have a souvenir.
The 10-year-old made the play.
After the catch, some high fives, hugs. No big deal. I got a baseball.
And you know what? Don't throw it back.
No.
Keep it. Got a story to tell. Ball and a strike on Mike. Cerebral backup catcher for the Rockies.
Some thunder in the bat.
Yes, he does. I mentioned this before, Jeff. He reminds me a little bit of Todd Green. If you make a mistake, particularly inner half, he's got short levers, but like Green, powerfully built. I mean, he'll hit it a long way.
Yeah, played with Todd in Anaheim.
Character.
That's among many things.
And that's a strike. Aaron Harang has struck out 3 in a row. That's his 5th strikeout. Brandon Barnes will be next. Who wants tacos? When the Rockies score 7 or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Do it between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special, La Masa Taco Bell. Sun splash Saturday afternoon. Warm and humid in Philadelphia. Barnes popped to first. And now he grounds to first. Little option run by Ryan Howard. Close at the bag. Good hustle by Barnes. He just
if he didn't,
was a fraction late as Aaron Harang got one of those size 15s down.
Yeah, if he doesn't option this baseball out of the glove as soon as he catches it and gives it to Aaron Harang early, then he's not going to beat Brandon to the bag. Watch Aaron snag this with his glove and then just have to get to that front corner by a whisker.
And a good call by Ted Barrett. So Eddie Butler with 2 outs, nobody on it. He struck out swinging his first time, and he takes a strike. Aaron Harang has made 10 starts this year. 9 have been quality starts. The only guy with more quality starts in baseball is Zach Greinke. Every one of his starts has been a quality start for the Dodgers, and the Rockies will see him on Tuesday.
But that's why it goes back to Aaron Harang, who also eats innings, is a potential trade target. And by the time he's traded, maybe at the deadline July 31st, he'll be owed about $2.5 million. So it's a reasonable pickup for somebody that's looking for a rent-a-player for the last 2 months.
By modern standards?
Well, that's what I mean. Not by modern baseball standards, not by standards outside of the realm of baseball. What's the average salary now? Over $4 million?
Yes. 0-2. That locked him up, but it was outside the strike zone. 1 and 2. And Aaron Harang has retired 7 in a row, but the Rockies have a 2-1 lead as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning in Philadelphia. By the Ford Escape, smart, safe, and fun to drive. Ford Escape, go further. By Southwest Airlines, book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. This is Valley Forge National Park. Haven't been there since I was a kid. So many beautiful and historic sites in the Northeast and around the Philadelphia area.
Well, producer Tavis Strand took his lovely wife Susan there the other day. They had a nice little stroll around the 5 Mile Park.
About time he did something semi-romantic with Susan. 2-1 score. Carlos Ruiz with a line drive to left, and now Barnes trying to hold him to a single, and he will. Great play by Brandon Barnes. He almost went down fielding that baseball, but that's huge. Kept the double play in order by getting over there and keeping that from going to the wall.
Well, even if he gets over there and cuts it off, you're not sure if Ruiz is going to try to go around, and then he bobbled and slipped, but still got up and made the throw back in. Now, it'll be a bunt situation for Harang, but he's just trying to bunt him to second instead of third if it's a double. It'll go foul.
That bunt will go foul. You know, that play out there by Brandon reminded me of something read in the Philadelphia Inquirer today from Cody Ashley, who's making the transition from third to left field. And he said, you know, I miss being in the infield where all the action is. He said, you feel so far away out there. He said, but I didn't realize how much running there is.
Well, you got to run to the line, back to the wall, into the gap, in and out in between every inning.
And it really goes beyond that. Here's the 0-1, and that misses 1-1. Because every time there's a swing, there is an explosive movement by everybody defensively, a step or two toward where the baseball may be going. It may be a foul ball, but you roll up, as like you say in baseball, on the balls of your feet. This is in the air, not caught by Butler. He could turn two. Low throw to Tulowitzki to first, double play. The great arm of Tulowitzki pays off as he had to double clutch it. DJ was covering the bag. It goes as your old 1-6-4 double play. Now how big was that play by Barnes?
Well, it's huge because you don't have the double play if this happens. The best you could hope for would be the runner still at second base, but then Troy had to double clutch because it wasn't a particularly good throw from Eddie out to second base. Didn't really step into it, and then you had the runner Ruiz who did not slide, so Troy had to get out and around from Ruiz before he made the throw to DJ.
Ben Revere, 2 outs, nobody on. He takes a fastball for a strike. And a weak ground ball to second, and it turns into a short inning. Eddie Butler has minimized the pitches utilized the last couple of innings, help from his defense, and it's 2-1 Rockies off to the 6th. Friend in the game of baseball, it was the Philly fanatic. 2-1 the Rockies leading. Log on to CFDRodeo.com/Aerosmith for your chance to win tickets to see Aerosmith in concert Wednesday, July 22nd at Cheyenne Frontier Days, summer's largest country music festival.
Between the Philly Fanatic and the San Diego Chicken. Those were the two mascots.
But even the dogs gravitate to the Philly Fanatic. The Fanatic was funny. Before the ball game, he pulls up in his ATV, thank you. And he crouches behind it, and he's lobbing, or pretending like he's lobbing grenades into the Rockies dugout. And Rockies throwing stuff back at him. Everybody has
it's always the fun in games with the Fanatic.
Third time through the lineup for Aaron Harang. The Rockies will have Charlie Blackmon, then DJ LeMahieu and Troy Tulowitzki. Charlie robbed of at least a double, if not a triple, by Ben Revere. He made a great running catch in deep left center back in the third inning. 7 in a row set down by Harang. It's a 1-2 count. Aaron Harang just doing his thing. Guys just don't square him up, Jeff. Why is that?
Because he hides the ball well. He changes location. He uses all the boxes in a hitting zone. And you would think the third time through that number would be closer to 300, but it drops down because he knows how to pitch.
Well, he had a cutter or a slider that dived too far inside, and Charlie's a true leadoff guy. Yeah, he can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but man, he will stay in there, and he gets hit. Look like a breaking ball. He gets hit by a lot of pitches.
It doesn't phase him, so he'll turn into it. So that's the way I need to get on. He'll watch pitches, sees a lot of pitches per plate appearance.
That's his team leading 7th of the year,
and that's huge. I mean, for Philadelphia, also that's their 22nd guy that they've hit on the season.
Well, they've walked more hitters than anybody else in the National League. The Rockies, as you know, especially a couple weeks ago, were having all kinds of issues with allowing free passes. The Rockies are 14th in the National League in issuing free passes. See if the Rockies can build on their lead. DJ at the plate.
See a hit and run.
Or straight steal. I mean, Charlie's one of the few guys in the Rockies lineup that will produce, you know, what figures to be a 20-plus bag season.
Ruiz last year was one of the top 5 guys at throwing out runners. This year he's 3 for 22, which is a 14% clip.
Charlie's 10 out of 13. 2-0. When you were out there on first, you usually shut it down in these situations, 2-0?
I would, because I don't want to put the hitter on the defensive. I want to let him look in a zone that he wants to hit the ball. I would wait for one more pitch. If it goes to 2-1, then think about stealing. Obviously 3-0, I'm not going to, although that has been becoming more prevalent, 3-0 steals. Well, the only thing it might change is you're thinking a fastball to a hit and run.
Charlie does take off, and the hit and run was on.
Well, you're throwing 2 sliders to get to 2-0. And knowing Aaron Harang, he doesn't walk many guys. 15 walks and 65 in the third innings coming in. Had not walked anybody today. And he's going to be somewhere around the zone.
2-1.
And you can go back to a hit and run again, do it back to back.
DJ put the bat out as if he was going to bunt, pulled it back early, and it was in the zone. It's 2-2. Carlos Ruiz, in concert with the Phillies pitching staff, is throwing out less than 14% of would-be base stealers. He wants a slider. This ball's left up. It's hit to deep center field, but playable for Revere. Tagging is Blackmon, and he's going to move up.
And that's an assist that goes to Chris Warren, the advanced scout for the Rockies, and talking about Ben Revere, and he tells these guys about the outfield arms. And knowing where Ben caught this ball out by the warning track in center field, Charlie already knows I'm going back to tag because he can't throw me out. It might be different if Francoeur is in center field because he's got a much stronger arm there. But with Ben, No, you go ahead and you take that extra base.
So it works as a sacrifice almost. And now 2 swipes at knocking him in for Tulowitzki and Gonzalez. Troy a strikeout, and he hit a hard smash to third that Franco made a nice play on. 4 for 4 last night, including 2 home runs. That's up and in. Tulo, a career .367 hitter at Citizens Bank, including 6 home runs. And he's got a 2-0 count to work with. Top of the 6th inning, the Rockies leading 2-1 on a pair of home runs. One from Nolan Arenado in the 2nd, and then 2 hitters later, Mike McHenry hit a solo home run. 3 hits for Colorado, 4 hits for Philadelphia. Eddie Butler has pitched well. And Troy may have been sitting off speed there.
Just the way he took that pitch. Yeah, I would agree with you. But that's been the game plan for Aaron Harang today. Some guys will do that up until 2 strikes and then just think about fastball adjusting off speed. Other guys will go and use their whole at bat and sit on a curveball or a changeup. That's one of the better feelings as a hitter, when you do that and you get the pitch and then you do damage.
Way inside, and it's 3-1. Phillies, who don't shift a lot, have a shift on right now. They have 3 on the left side. Utley is virtually right up the middle. Here's the 3-1.
Hey fans, it's time to vote for your Rockies All-Stars. Vote 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot exclusively at Rockies.com. Vote now. Vote early and vote often.
How about Tulo's start to the year? His first 5 games, he became the first Rocky ever to have a double in each of his first 5 games. Home run he hit against Cole Hamels yesterday in the first snapped a 91 at bat homerless stretch. Previous home run came against Hudson, 3rd week of April. Jim Hudson. This ball's pulled foul. Phillies and Rockies developed a nice little rivalry starting in '07 when the Rockies swept the Phils.
On the underdog, everybody before that series is ready to go ahead and move the Phillies on to the next round.
Absolutely, and then they met again in 2009. Phillies have dominated during the regular season. In fact, the Phillies have 99 wins all time against the Rockies. And their next victory, they'd be the first team to win 100 games against Colorado for a team that does not reside in the NL West. And of course, with the unbalanced schedule, the Rockies play Padres, Giants, Dodgers, and Diamondbacks far more than anybody else.
And the Phillies have won 20 out of the last 26 games played here at Citizens Bank Ballpark.
Blackman off second, swung on and missed. Foul tip. Was it a tip or no? Evidently not.
No argument from Troy. Aaron Harang climbing the ladder. It just popped out of the glove of Ruiz. Troy was asking. I don't know if something's going on because Sandberg popped out of the dugout pretty quick. I don't know if it's how they're going to play this. There's nobody warming up in the bullpen. Like the scene out of Bull Durham. Maybe what they're thinking about getting somebody for a wedding gift. Try to figure out what's going on. There's the runner at second base. Nobody's warming up.
That is a great scene.
That's one of the best in a baseball movie.
What do you got?
What do you got? Candlesticks always make a nice gift.
See if Cargo with 2 outs can pick up Tulo. Blackman standing at second base. Now, because of Charlie's presence at second, they don't overshift Freddie Galvis to the right side. Cargo hits a lot of balls, as we know, on the ground, and shoots some balls up the middle. That would work well here.
That is the good news. Because of Charlie, there's so much more room, even though Chase Utley is playing 3 steps back on the grass. Well, look at all that room that's just to the right of Utley. To his right.
1-0. And Cargo fouls it back. Cargo in batting practice the last 2 days regularly bounces line drives off the ivy that serves as the batter's eye in center field. That's not normal. He's just trying to make that translate into the game.
That's the last piece of the puzzle, that one you're always looking for.
2-1. And Walt was saying before the game, and he said this now for the last week or so, his takes, you said it, Jeff, his takes are better. Trying to get on a little roll.
Now the last thing is the timing of the hands and the feet. When that foot lands, are your hands back? And that's been the difference almost all year long, is pitches to hit are being fouled back, fouled off. You see minor glimpse of it here and there, but not the consistent putting it in play hard.
We talked about that earlier. See the tweet. Cargo and Tulowitzki historically have killed the Phillies. 2-2 with 2 outs. Top of the 6th. The Rockies up 2-1. And it's way inside. Nolan's on deck hoping for an opportunity. Blackman hit by a pitch, went to second on a deep fly ball off the bat of DJ LeMahieu. And another pitch up in the zone. And again, Harang intentionally works up. But that's a pitch, maybe a tad above the strike zone. We've seen Cargo hit that ball a mile also.
And what that has done for Harang with some of these foul balls is put him up to 105 pitches.
Yesterday, Hamels went 117 pitches. And Cargo keeps the AB alive. And it's a liner that's knocked down. Galvis won't have a play. I'm sure that'll be an infield hit. Blackman obviously had to stop at third.
Well, Charlie, you saw him just give the knuckles to Stu Cole because Charlie was thinking that he was going to score on this because he doesn't know what's happening behind him. He doesn't know that the ball's been bobbled. All he knows is where it was headed, that I'm going to have a chance to score on that ball. But Stu Cole held him up. He was telling him, stop, don't round the bag in case there's a back throw.
Actually giving Galvis an error.
Wow. And not just because Carlos hit that, but where Galvis was, how hard it was hit.
Seventh error on Galvis. Arenado, first and third. And all this does is make it far more likely that Aaron Harang will be gone after 6 innings. DeFreitas and on the left side, Jake Diekman up for Ryan Sandberg. Justin DeFreitas on the right side. And this is popped up and playable for Ruiz. Ball almost popped out of his glove. So the Rockies leave 2 on in the 6th inning, middle of 6. It remains 2-1 Colorado. That always reminds me of Todd's first postseason at bat, the triple against the Phillies in the 07 NLDS. And when I think of the right field seats, we showed the 3 home runs hit out there by the big man. Yesterday we had the replay of the 3-homer game. And now the other thing it reminds me of was the grand slam in Game 2 by Kaz Matsui. Nobody was thinking long ball, and Kaz turned that game around as the Rockies would go on to sweep the Philadelphia Phillies. Eddie Butler in the 6th inning, and he throws a first pitch strike to Freddie Galvis. It's Galvis, Utley, and Howard, 2, 3, and 4 for the Phils in a 1-run game. So you have the Giambi 3-homer game. And for me, I'll always remember sitting here watching Kaz Matsui, and your eyes wanted to jump out of your head, saying, wow.
Because of how far he hit it. It wasn't a wall scraper, one that barely got over.
No, there's no doubt.
No doubt.
They're going to throw it around the infield. See you later.
Well, Galvis didn't think he swung, but Scott Berry said, yes, you did.
That's the 3rd strikeout for Eddie.
Immediately signaled out. I think he's asking, was that on the swing or was that a called strike? But when an umpire points at the hitter that means it's on the swing.
Ben Paulson's going to make the play on his own. Two outs, Ryan Howard coming up. It's our RE/MAX upcoming home schedule. Brought to you by RE/MAX. The Rockies will play a 4-game set. The doubleheader makeup on Tuesday. And note the television schedule won't be on the air until the evening affair. So come on out to the ballpark. It's a day-night doubleheader, and we'll have the night game on Tuesday. And then the homestand will continue with the Marlins and then the Cardinals. The Rockies will be home for 10 days. 2 outs and Howard up. He drove in the only run for the Phillies with a 2-out double pulled to the right field corner in the first inning. And you need separate tickets for that day-night doubleheader on Tuesday. This ball is pulled foul. Eddie has 77 pitches. That's noteworthy for me because against the Phillies 2 starts ago, he had 77 pitches through 3 innings and got a shower.
And the other start prior to the one against the Phillies, he had 83 pitches in 2 1/3 innings. So now you're sitting at 5 2/3 and 77 pitches.
Here's the 1-1. And Howard pulls it. That's fair. Touch the bag. Paulson has time with Ryan Howard running. And it's a very quick and efficient 1-2-3 inning for Eddie Butler. What a job he's done as we go to the 7th. 2-1 Rockies.
One lead as they come up to bat again. I want to get you a tweet on this day in big league history. This is one that Jeff Houston's going to have to comment on. We go back to this day in 1982 when Cal Ripken was 21 years old and he began his consecutive game streak on this day. Huey, where were you on this day in 82?
Hold on, let me guess.
Go ahead, Drew.
He was messing around in a dorm room in Glendale, Arizona.
You got that right.
Am I right?
Actually, an apartment.
An apartment?
Yeah, because we didn't have dorms.
You got kicked out of the dorm by then.
Well, they didn't have dorms yet. That was how old the school was.
You were in Glendale, though, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. I was in Glendale for the Gauchos.
A mere puppy, and then you were watching, and you said, I bet this dude's going to play 30 years in a row without coming out.
Sure, and then to be able to play in the game that he broke Lou Gehrig's record, that's a special, special moment for me.
You know what? We've talked, you and I, obviously, a lot about it, and I've used that as an entree for some people who didn't know. Of the 3 remarkable games that you were involved in, the 2 no-hitters for Nolan Ryan and the celebration of Cal Ripken passing Lou Gehrig. If you had to order, I mean, it's probably unfair to do that, but if you had to put it in an order,
I
what
would say that's
be?
number one. And the reason being because you knew when that date was going to come. The other ones happened over the course of a game.
Sure.
But it didn't build up like it did from spring training on, knowing when that day was going to be.
This ball's belted high and deep right field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. Off the facade of the second deck. Ben Paulson, as he did last night, giving the Rockies some late game breathing room.
How about the energy that Ben Paulson has brought along with Brandon Barnes?
Since they've come up, the Rockies basically have won 5 of their last 6. It's an energy thing and it's a productivity thing.
That's probably the more important thing, because last night it was a home run from Ben that expanded the lead from 2-0. Today it's a solo shot to make it 3-1.
You know what's wild to me? Ryan Sandberg had, in the last inning, DeFreitas warming up and Diekman warming up. He brings in Luis Garcia. Who did Paulson go deep against last night? Luis Garcia.
And you have 2 left-handers in the bullpen, so it's not like you have to save one of them. If you want to mix and match from the 7th inning on, you have that capability.
3 solo home runs this afternoon, and the Rockies have a 3-1 lead. Paulson, a 2-run shot yesterday in his first ever at bat at Citizens Bank to give the Rockies a 4-0 lead. Of course, they'd win 4-1. There was an unearned run in the 9th against John Axford. And now he gives the Rockies a 2-run cushion. Mike McHenry.
Well, last night for Ben, it was different because he takes a breaking pitch that's down and away from him and hits it out to left center field. Today, he gets the hanger and pulls it to right.
He got him on a slider, so Garcia strikes out. Mike McHenry first out in the 7th inning. Brandon Barnes coming up.
What do you think for Ben? We were talking about ballparks that make you feel comfortable and uncomfortable. I think at the end of this series, he said, I kind of like this part. I see the ball well.
What's impressive also, we just showed the home run. He hits one out to left center field. Got a hanger, and he belts that one on the pull side.
Well, the huge number is the 444 average. That's prior to the at bat by Paulson. Now it's going to be higher and an extra home run.
Think about this. In his first 22 appearances of the year, check it, 23 appearances of the year, he had allowed 1 home run. So, you know, Rhino, guy you worked with in the Cubs organization, he calls upon this guy, goes, all right, he's going to keep the ball in the ballpark and that sort of thing. Last night he gives up a 2-run home run. And tonight's the same guy, Ben Paulson. I have nightmares about Paulson. Ball and a strike on Barnes. And this ball roped left center field. Long run out there for Revere. And here goes Barnes towards second. And he is in there with a double. And for Revere, who does not have a great arm, as we explained, he made an ideal throw, but Barnes just flat beat it for his 5th double already.
And running hard out of the box because he knows that Ben has to go to his right, stop and come back and make a throw. This ball was tattooed. You see here how loud it was. Ben circles back behind it, gets behind and makes a strong throw. But again, Brandon not breaking stride, not stuttering his feet to hit the corner of the bag.
You know, initially it wasn't Eddie Butler, it was Daniel Descalso walking to the plate, and now it's going to be Rafael Inoa. So Walt Weiss, after getting 6 tremendous innings from Eddie Butler, is going to say, I have a well-rested bullpen. It's going to set up the way I want it to. And he's going to tell the young man, job well done, and hand it off to a veteran bullpen. And he's going to try to tack on offensively here with Rafael Inoa and Barnes at second with 1 out in the 7th.
And then that's the luxury you have for Walt by having the day off on Thursday. How deep Chad Bettis went last night. You only used John Axford. So I'm going to go to my bullpen and my bench. And you'll have Scott Oberg for the 7th. And Ryan Sandberg's going to come in with the switch hitter and Noah, and then Charlie Blackmon. He's going to go to his bullpen and bring in Jake Diekman.
And you know what? I like this move by Walt. He pulled the left-handed hitting Descalso back, put up a switch hitter in Enoa. 3-1 Rockies.
Everybody knows about Michael Jack Smith. 96.5% of the votes that he garnered in 1995 led to a first-time ballot Hall of Fame winner, 548 career home runs. And I was talking to Mike before the game, and he wanted me to give a shout-out to Lynn and Bill Santos back in Denver. And, of course, Lynn, he said he wants you to have a good day from Uncle Mike. And so I'd relay that message to you. Hope you're doing well. When Mike Schmidt asked you today, can you send a shout out to a dear friend of mine back in Denver, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, Mike looks great, doesn't he?
He does. It's good to see him. Great to chat with him about baseball. And Jake Diekman, the left-hander, has really struggled, unlike what he has done in the past for the Phillies. He'll still throw the ball 97, 98, 99 miles an hour. But switch Raphael and Noah over hitting from the right side where he's hitting 263.
Rockies have Barnes at second, a one-out double. So Noah's hitting for Butler. And for Eddie, that was, I think, without question, the best start of his career. 6 innings, a run on 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, only 1 walk, and a low pitch count. I mean, it wasn't like he was flirting with, a bunch of 3-2 counts.
78 pitches, 53 for strikes.
Terrific. Outside on Enoa. It's the second time he's gone 6 innings and allowed 1 run. 4th time he's thrown 6 or more, but just the way this one unfolded, I think, was Eddie's finest hour in his young big league pitching career.
I thought there was 2 instances. Once in the 3rd inning, we had first and second got Ryan Howard to ground
Barnes
out.
headed to third, line drive to right, diving attempt, and it comes loose. And the Rockies have a 4-1 lead. Raphael Enoa coming through with Barnes on the move. Great effort out there by Jeff Francoeur, but he couldn't secure it. Good thing, because it would have been an easy double play.
Well, if you're Brandon, you take off and that ball's sinking down, you keep running. It does you no good to stop, because he'll still throw you out at second base. But now Raphael Enoa with a pinch hit RBI. All in the air. Francoeur has a beat on it. I'm not sure that this didn't skip off the ground. Yeah, it did before it went into his glove. So even if he comes up and tries to sell it, it would have been a base hit. Brandon scoring, standing up.
strike on Blackman. How about Rafael Ynoa? He's now 6 for 17 as a pinch hitter with 3 runs driven in.
And he's 4 for 6 pinch hitting right-handed. So it played into Walt's hand when you say you're going to bring in the lefty. I'll flip Ynoa over to the right side.
That's why I said it was a great move, because with Descalso, they're going to bring in Diekman, and you're either going to burn Descalso or have him face a real difficult left-hander, left on left. With Ynoa, he had the option.
And that's the beauty of the switch hitter on the bench.
This ball back up the middle. Galvis with a good play, and he'll get just 1.
Folks, you're not going to see a better play by a shortstop.
Did he flip that behind his back with the glove?
No, with the no look.
That's a great play by Galvis.
And he had some help off the mound. Watch the ball skip up off the mound. So he dives. How about this? No look on the bag to Chase Utley.
Wow.
And the tip of the cap to Freddie Galvis. Oh, my.
Yeah,
just look at the field presence.
You're flipping it and you're sliding on the ground, and you have a general idea where the bag is. That thing was right over the bag.
There.
Another pitching change for the Phillies. Colorado has tacked on 2 here in the 7th. They're up 4-1. With every challenge call, the Subaru EyeSight review will determine the outcome. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. So Justin DeFreitas will come on now. The inning began with Luis Garcia. He got 1 out, gave up a couple hits. Diekman got the great out produced by Galvis, and he gave up a hit. Now DeFreitas, after 6 strong innings from Aaron Harang. Harang has the hook. DJ LeMahieu at the plate. 2 outs. Blackman with good speed at first base.
Freitas coming off a rough road trip. He's 0-1 with a 12 ERA.
DJ 1 for 3. Way inside. Yeah, DJ has been an RBI machine, Phil. He's had an all-star first half, without question, offensively and defensively. Blackman started to go, shut it down. I don't know if it was a bluff or a bad jump that shut him down.
Bad jump. Bad jump. When you take off and you know you didn't get that first step that you want, you just stop. They just didn't feel it. Just didn't have that right timing and rhythm of getting out and taking off.
2-0 pitch. LeMahieu hitting .345 against right-handed pitching. That's 4th best in the National League. Nick Hundley's hitting .357, 2nd best. Nick not in the lineup this afternoon. And this is a bouncer to Utley. Easy play. The Rockies have a very good 7th inning. They get a home run from Ben Paulson to right. And then Barnes doubles, and Rafael Noah brings them home. 4-1. Night 4-1. That's a Liberty Bell, Jeff, and
yes,
somebody put a crack in it.
Wasn't me.
Gotta be careful around antiques. The day after every Rockies victory, get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. Promo code ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com with Jeff Hewson and Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. That's Scott Oberg. He's going to handle the 7th inning. He'll have Maikel Franco, Cody Ashe, and Jeff Francoeur. With the Rockies up by 3 runs, the numbers on Scott. His confidence, Huey, grows each time he takes the baseball.
He's got a 5+ inning scoreless streak going on, and yeah, the more appearances you have, the better your confidence is going to be. And Walt's showing the confidence in him. They'll put him in a myriad of different situations this year. Last time he pitched was a game against San Francisco, game 1. 2 innings, just 1 hit allowed.
One strike pitch to Franco's twice hit it on the ground to Arenado, and it's a slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball in the mid-90s typically from Scott. Like that one at 95, and an easy play for Tulowitzki. 1 out. Well, last night, the Rockies, every night, they shift quite a bit. And of course, when a ball goes through where the shift, had it not been on, where a player would have been, people say, especially last night with the no-hitter, the kind of the bleeder through the left side by Ashe, people say, oh, why were the Rockies shifting? Well, here's why. Last year, the Rockies were in the bottom third in defensive shifts. This year, they've shifted more than anybody in the National League. What has it meant? Last year, on batted balls in play on the ground, ground balls, all ground balls charted, the league hit 260 against the Rockies. This year, they're hitting 220. That's a 40-point delta. That's huge.
Well, there was plays last night that the no-hitter would have been over sooner if they hadn't have been in the shift. And the pitch that Kobayashi hit was a ball that was away from him. You have the shift on. Nolan's in at third base, but the pitch was away. Yeah, that would have been a normal ground ball. But even the ball that was up the middle that Troy made the error on to end the perfect game, he was on the second base side of second base. So I mean, people, you can second guess all you want, but there was plenty of it. I can count maybe 3 or 4 balls that would have been hits if you're not playing the shift.
And it's all about charts and graphs and looking at what guys have done, and they look back at the previous 100 ground balls, and if it merits a shift, they're going to do it, and it has paid off. Do you know there are a number of different entities, as Frank Core fouls this off 1-1, a number of different entities that look and produce a runs saved calculation, and the consensus is that the Rockies lead the National League in runs saved, not only by shifting but special plays by the third baseman in particular, etc.
Because when you shift, you also keep the range that these guys have. So you shift and the range, that's 2 times the balls that you're going to be able to get compared to other teams.
So you see all those numbers in front of Latch and all that Tommy
Charting
Runnels
everything.
and Walt Weiss have at their disposal, and produced by a lot of smart folks on the 3rd floor at 20th and Blake, and the work done in advanced scouting by Chris Warren. There's a game plan for every hitter and how to play them defensively, and the Rockies have really bought in, and it's been borne out in terms of runs saved in the first 2 months of the season.
Sure, the guys early on were not quite on board, because it's not something that you do in the minor leagues, and people say, well, why not? Why aren't there shifts in the minor? You don't have the data that you have at the big league level in the minor leagues. So in the minor leagues, it's more a feel, more of a hunch that somebody is going to pull the ball.
And some teams are more reluctant to do it. And, different philosophy. Frank Core has to duck out of the way. That's a breaking ball that gets away. 2-2. The Phillies, for one, they don't shift much.
Well, Ryan Sandberg's, I would say, more of an old school. You and I were talking on the drive here to the ballpark today, and you asked me how many times I don't remember a shift. The shift to me was moving 2 or 3 steps. And that's what it was. If you thought a guy was a pull hitter, you'd move. If I was playing short, I'd move it over into the hole towards third base. If I was playing second base, 2 or 3 steps up the middle. Yeah. That's it. Not on the other side of the bat.
Two fouled off. And another note, so last night Kobayashi comes up in the 8th inning, and it's a 2-0 game. It's only 2-0. It's not a blowout. Nolan is still playing more of a third base, even though he's the only one on the left side. And we were talking about this, and Walt in the dugout was talking about this. Well, do you move him to the conventional shortstop spot, because Ashe, etiquette says, is not going to bunt to break up the no-hitter? But then again, he might, because it's just a 2-run game. And after thinking about it, they felt like it was better to keep him where he was. This ball's well hit to left, and the leap is that gone or off the top of the wall? A safe signal.
I think they might review this one.
By the second base umpire, Chris Conroy. So right now it's a double for Frank Core. You got to hang him.
Yes, he did. Ryan Sandberg's on the top of the step. Brandon goes back, and it has to go over that.
Oh, the fan interfered. He reached over the. He reached over the wall.
That's why he signaled no catch.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, he's reaching over.
They're going to take a look at it. I can't. How can this one change. He reached over.
Right.
Now, there is a, there's the wall, and we've seen this before. There's that little flower bed and the smaller fence to make sure nobody falls out. If it hits that fencing above the wall, it's a home run. But he reached down a couple of feet. I don't think you can call this a home run. Well, this is a Subaru review. Whether you're on the road or at the game, everybody could use a second set of eyes.
Well, that's why I said a moment ago, I think they're going to review this one.
And the crowd's booing, and Philly fans
are booing the guy.
Yeah, they're booing the guy. They're naturally, shall we say, opinionated here, and not afraid to voice their opinion. And they're not upset with the call; they're upset with the fan.
You see the fence in front, and then the fan reaching over that second fence, and that's where the flower bed is in between.
I don't think. Again, I don't think this should be flipped because he reached over. And I'm glad he did, because I think it would have been a home run.
It would have been real close.
So again, that little fence there you see, if it hits that, it's a home run. That's not in play. That's actually behind the wall. Barnesy makes a great effort.
He does. He leaps as high as he can. Yeah, I don't see this one being overturned. Remember, Chris Conroy immediately signaled there was no home run. He was signaling.
Yeah, that's a tough call for an umpire, because he's a couple 100 feet away, and I give Chris Conroy a lot of credit because he was running out and then stopped so he can adjust the eyes. What do you got?
It's fan interference.
Runner at second base.
Not only do you have fan interference, you have the guy not catch the baseball, and a break for the Rockies.
So with 2 outs, Frank Core at second, and Carlos Ruiz at the plate. Outside. And the Rockies, in a perfect world, are going to set up, obviously, with Oberg here in the 7th. Betancourt, one would imagine, in the 8th, and then in the 9th inning, John Axford.
Betancourt is getting loose.
And strike on Ruiz at 94. Four runs, 7 hits for the Rockies, a run on just 5 hits for the Phils. Way outside. Henry keeps it in the neighborhood, and it's 2-1.
Switch hitter Hernandez on deck for Philadelphia.
Swung on and missed. It's 2-2. High heat.
And tardy on the 95 was Ruiz. Ruiz hitting just .226 against right-handed pitching this year.
And that 2-2 at 96 is fouled off.
Well, the rooftop is a place to be during baseball season. Arrive early for pregame festivities and beer specials before first pitch.
Two. Ruiz somehow stayed off that. Just a little tall, and it's 3-2.
And now you have the shadows from the light standard and the roof creeping in between the pitcher and home plate. This is where you could throw a curveball and start in the same area and get a strikeout, because you can't pick up the spin. I think Tom Flash Gordon was the best at that. If you'd start the fastball, he'd always get the strike fastball belt high, maybe a little higher, and then his curveball would come out at the same location and then really drop off. And you could not differentiate between the two.
And he had one of the best curveballs in the game for a long time.
For a long time.
Starter, reliever.
Didn't matter.
Proud Papa of D. He's having a great year for the Marlins. 3-2 again on Ruiz with Francoeur, second and 2 outs. Line drive at Tulowitzki. Francoeur tried to get it as much in the eyesight of Tulowitzki as he could, but Troy stayed with it, and that's all for the Phillies in the 7th. We move on to inning number 8. It remains 4-1 Colorado. Rockies leading 4-1 as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Tulowitzki, Gonzalez, and Arenado against Ken Giles in the 8th, who wants tacos. Fans follow at @RootsSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more runs. Rockies have hit 3 home runs in this ball game. Arenado and McHenry solo shots in the 2nd to give the Rockies a 2-1 lead. And then a home run from Ben Paulson last inning, and that was followed up by a Barnes double and a Rafael Inoa pinch single to give the Rockies the 3-run advantage. Giles has been outstanding this year, and he gets a swinging strike on an off-speed pitch. Troy Tulowitzki is 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts, and a hard smash to third.
Giles is normally the 7th, 8th inning guy for Philadelphia. 20 strikeouts in 20 and a third inning. Big power arm, will throw 97, can touch 100 miles an hour. So what's he do? Comes in with 2 sliders at 86.
You know, Walt was asked before the game if guys had pitched Tulowitzki differently. In other words, just went after him because he had been in a slump, and he said, no, you're not going to pitch. That hasn't been the case. I mean, you're still going to, even with a guy like Troy struggling a little bit, you still respect what he can do as one of the premier hitters in the game. And there's evidence of it. 2 sliders from Giles. And it's the same thing with Cargo. We watch teams every day pitch backwards to Cargo. You're not just going to feed him a fastball and say, oh, you know, he's hitting a little over 200. They know it's in there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ryan Sandberg forced to use Giles because the Phillies have lost 5 straight. It's the 3rd time this year they've lost at least 5 in a row. Their season long is a 6-game losing streak, and the Rockies are trying to push them to that point again.
And they're only team in Major League to have 3 losing streaks of 5 games or more.
They've been awful on the road. They've been pretty good at home.
7-20 out on the road.
This ball's well hit right center field by Troy. And it is off the very top of the wall. And Tulowitzki into second with a double. Now let's see where this one hit.
I think this one hit on the fencing in right center field. The kids are pointing, and no fan interference here, but he gets a fastball. I thought this one was going to have a chance to climb on up out of here. Right in the bottom of the fence and the padding.
That's what, 3-4 inches? Maybe less?
Maybe less. But again, credit to Chris Conroy, the second baseman, to go out and signal.
He's had a lot of work. Cargo base hit his last time up. And if we didn't tell you, Cargo initially, they gave Galvis an error. They changed that quickly and gave Cargo a hit on that smash up the middle. See if Carlos can at the very least move Troy. There's 2 on the right side as Galvis has to keep Tulowitzki somewhat close to the bag on his secondary lead. Boy, good to see Troy drive the ball with authority to right center field. Here's the 1-1 to Cargo.
Well, a few different swings from Troy. The home runs, obviously, last night, the 2 singles, and now the double going the other way. But at the end of this at bat, he has to, at minimum, be at third. With a little baseball game.
One, 2. This will get the job done.
That'll work. Fans, movie night is back for the 2015 season, and on Sunday, July 12th, all fans are invited to stay and watch the movie The Rookie following the game against the Braves. Purchase this ticket package to access the field for the movie and receive a movie night blanket. The Rookie.
So Nolan with the infield in. Great opportunity to push the lead to 4. 2 in the first, 2 in the 7th, or 2 in the second, 2 in the 7th for the Rockies. And he was on that 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Home run back in the second for Nolan, his 11th of the year. 9 have come out on the road. 23 of his 32 ribbies out on the road.
Now you're just thinking, man, the infield's in. I got a lot of green grass behind them.
Two strikes. Now you go into battle mode.
Just try to make contact. But again, the shadows right over home plate make it hard to pick up the baseball in any sort of spin.
So drop out of play. Two strikes on Nolan. by Ruiz, 1-2.
Ruiz has been doing that a long time in a Phillies uniform. The question is he going to go fastball at 97 or throw the hard slider at 86?
And it doesn't matter. It's punched to right center field. RBI single for Arenado. He shortened up on his swing and he delivers the Rockies' 5th run. He went away with the slider.
And what does he do? He takes the pitch that is away from, makes contact, doesn't hit it hard. That was off the end of the bat. It sounded so bad. It sounded like he cracked his bat, but he didn't. It just hit it so far off the sweet spot. And that's not a strike, but you don't want to leave it up into the pitcher's hand.
Let me correct that. That was the fastball.
Yeah, 96.
Away.
And it's just a punch single to right field.
Good 2-strike approach from Arenado. Paulson, a home run his last at bat against Luis Garcia, and that's he homered against yesterday. Last year he came up, he had 4 home runs, hit well over 300. He's got 3 home runs since his call up already this year. Today's game changer brought to you by T-Mobile. Hanging breaking ball, and this one was absolutely lathered by Paulson off the facade of the second deck here at Citizens Bank. Rockies with 3 long balls today, up 5-1. Here's the 1-1.
Again, let's give credit to Carlos Gonzalez by getting Troy over to third to allow Nolan to drive in Troy easier.
Raffy.
Been ready for about 20 minutes.
Boy, what a big at bat from Nolan Arenado. Just keep adding on.
Don't give the Phillies any hope.
Well, you know this from your playing days. If you score in 3 innings or more in a ball game, you typically win that ball game. You win it far more than half the time.
And then you have 3 innings where you put up crooked numbers.
You know, more than one. Sure. Well, tonight or today, 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 7th. They add a run here in the 8th, and you got 5. And
well,
most days 5 is going to be good enough, especially with the way the Rockies have been pitching. If you missed it, Eddie Butler terrific this afternoon, backing up the marvelous effort by Chad Bettis yesterday.
Well, I think there was 3 things. You scored the 2 runs in the top of the 2nd after the Phillies scored 1 in the 1st, and then you had the ability for Eddie to get out of the 3rd inning, the 1st and 2nd. With Ryan Howard up to get the 3rd out of there. But then the other key moment in this game was in the 5th inning when you had Ruiz with the single. They're trying to bunt him to second base, and you got the double play.
Big moment. Mike McHenry with 2 outs and Nolan at first. Mike a home run in the 2nd. Caught looking in the 5th and swinging in the 7th. So a couple of strikeouts in addition to that home run. 2nd home run this year for Fort McHenry, as they call him.
back in the second inning for Michael. And he was hitting him into the second deck or the upper deck, almost out by the Harry the K sign out in left field underneath the scoreboard during batting practice. I don't know how many I saw him plant out there. Lost track. Yeah, right underneath Harry the K's.
Middle Tennessee product, who is very, very strong. And this is in the air to right. Frank Coeur barely had to move. In the inning, Rockies got a leadoff double from Tulowitzki, and Nolan Arenado behind in the count delivered him.
I couldn't get any country music tickets, by the way. I tried. I asked. Weekly, and this week we have a really cool edition because we're going to get to know Scott Oberg, who actually lives within 25 miles of Citizens Bank Park. It's the good, the bad, the spilly, and the sully as we get to the end of the month, and we'll get you the best moments from the month of May for the Rocks. Scott Oberg's a great story, guys. I was talking to him about this get to know, and he was married December the 6th in downtown Philly, and then he had his reception at the same hotel the Rockies stay at. He said that he got out of the team hotel the other night. He's thinking the last time I was here, I was getting out of a limo for the reception for my wedding. So he married a girl by the name of Diana that went to UConn with him. She was a rower, so you'll find all about him coming up on Sunday after the game, and his family's here. It's good for Scott Oberg.
Which meant she spent some time on the Schuylkill River.
Yes,
rowing.
Exactly, yes. Rowing the Schuylkill, and they met doing some scholastic and athletic stuff up at UConn. So
go Huskies.
I figured you would get that.
I had to.
Kyle Houston,
as Kyle would say, bleed blue is what he says.
Kyle, your son, a senior to be, star player for the UConn hockey team, defenseman. Rafael Betancourt, star setup man now for the Colorado Rockies, making his 20th appearance. Rockies up 5-1. And this will be Cesar Hernandez pinch hitting. It's 9-1-2 for Philadelphia.
And every time I see Rafi out there, it just brings a smile to your face. This is how hard he had to work to come back, and not only just come back, but to be at the top of his game, like he had never left.
And in many ways, feeling better than he did prior to his surgery.
Well, he doesn't have the soreness that he had before in the elbow area, so now he'll throw and go through the normal pregame, postgame routines that he does, and wake up the next morning feeling like he can go again tonight.
Changing speeds more frequently than you may remember in the past. Sets
More
up
of a split finger changeup.
Yep. Sets up that fastball that, you know, typically only reads 89 to 91, but the way he hides it and the way he's able to spot it like that at 89, he is very difficult to hit.
Well, spotting it is almost the middle name for Raphael. He makes that 89, 90 mile an hour fastball look like it's 95.
Three and two. Ben Revere on deck. This is in case it gets dicey with Utley and Howard due up later on in the inning. This is a high fly ball to deep right field, and it's going to carry on out of here. Hernandez hits a solo home run, a pinch home run to make it 5-2. That's the first home run allowed this year by Raphael.
Well, the first pinch hit home run for Cesar, the first home run of the season. Where this pitch is designed, it was designed to be down more, but it was left middle thigh inside. There's no doubt for Hernandez.
Ball one on Ben Revere. A line out, a single in the third. He stole a base. And also a ground ball to second, so 1 for 3 for the former Twin, Ben Revere. And it's 2-0.
The first 10,000 fans through the gates on Sunday, June 7th, will receive a Troy Tulowitzki bobblehead sponsored by Rapid City. Road to Rushmore, Troy Tulowitzki bobblehead.
That's 3-0 on Revere. You rarely see 3-0 counts with this man on the hill. And that's high, ball 4. So Betancourt,
just the third walk that Rafi has given up in 18 innings.
Tony Galvis coming up at first. Steve Foster wants to check on his 40-year-old setup man. So the starting pitchers today, Eddie Butler and Aaron Harang. Now, if somebody told you Eddie Butler, who has worked a lot of deep counts and walked a lot of folks, would throw 31 less pitches than Aaron Harang, who pitched well in 6 innings, I don't think many people would have predicted that. The Rockies have a chance to beat the top 2 pitchers, not only in the Phillies rotation, but 2 of the top pitchers in baseball this year on back-to-back days. Now there's some concern with Betancourt. What's going on? Because Keith Duggar's out there.
I don't know if he's overheated or there's something going on with an arm or a shoulder.
Well, he's coming out. Or is he? Still got the baseball, maybe not. No, now he's giving it up. Yeah, I don't know. He may not feel well because they weren't looking at anything in particular.
No, but when Troy came in the second time and then Nolan was by the mound, and I know Steve Foster had gone out there, they signaled to bring Keith Duggar out to look at him. So that to me tells me more of a physical sickness type of issue.
Boone Logan's going to come on 5-2. Cesar Hernandez. And Ben Revere walked on 4 pitches, which almost never happens when Rafael Betancourt's on the hill. And there was a meeting at the mound, and Keith Duggar was summoned, and we watched as Rafael slowly walked off. And we're trying to speculate, does he not feel well? Is it some sort of heat related deal, because it is warm here? And he threw he threw a cup when he got in the dugout, then kind of threw his jacket in frustration, and then he went down the steps. So we have no idea as to what the reason was. Keith Duggar followed him down, but as soon as we have some information, obviously we'll pass it along. We'll tell you to pay attention to the post-game show, the Toyota post-game show. Hopefully by that time they'll have some more information. So here we go. Nobody out. Freddie Galvis at the plate. Boone Logan takes over. And this is in the air to right field. Cargo going back. And on the warning track, he makes the catch. 1 out. And they have Utley and Howard back to back.
Lefties this year hitting below 200 against Boone. That's why getting that first out in Galvis was important, because now you have Utley and Howard coming up. So yeah, Drew, I'm with you. Just hoping it was more of a not feeling well issue than an arm issue. Chase hitting 163 against left-handers. Is 196 against righties.
And fastball at 92 for a strike. Those are not Chase Utley type numbers.
Chase on May 8th was hitting .099. It wasn't even hitting the interstate. I mean, it's bad enough when you're talking about the Mendoza line, but when you're hitting the interstate, the 190s, the 180s, like he's at now, 187, I-87, that's why they call it the interstate. But he's below that.
Do they have a name for the
No, they don't.
Yeah,
usually don't last long enough to make it.
Usually it's called AAA.
Yeah.
But I don't think Chase Utley is being set to AAA. Two-one. And it's 2-2 as lost the mask. Well, this is good news, man. Charlie got hurt in spring training. Rocky saw him a little bit earlier. He was around the club, but he's going to begin his major league rehab assignment with the Isotopes this evening. I wish Charlie all the best.
Dealing with a back issues in spring training.
Pulled foul. Two-two, slowly hit. Arenado cuts in front, gets to the bag. He didn't step on it. He did not step on it.
He didn't step on the bag. Reminds me of the play the other night with Willeen at first base when he fielded the ball and stepped right over the top of it. The shift, Choice goes after it, but Nolan, all he has to do is step on the bag and get the lead runner.
Yeah, it's weird because he was concerned, it looked like, about, hey, I'm going to try to turn two myself, but never touched the bag, never came close to touching the bag.
Stepped right over the top of it. Ben Revere had come off the bag, took 2 steps to the dugout before he realized that he wasn't out.
So it's a fielder's choice, and now you have the tying run at the plate, Ryan Howard. Sliders in, ball 1. Howard hitting .212 against lefties. And he's out in front of that slider.
For 8 against Boone, but the 4 times he was out were via the strikeout.
So Logan works ahead 1 and 2.
Block, Michael.
Two and 2 on Howard. Got it. Big strikeout there of Ryan Howard, the leading home run hitter for the Phillies, and that is out number 2. And will bring to the plate right-handed hitting Maikel Franco.
He wasn't going to give him a fastball inside. Everything else in was down and away from the power of Ryan Howard, or at least he says, if you're going to beat me, I'm going to go the other way.
Wall is going to make a move here. He may ask John Axford to get 4 outs.
Maybe a Brooks Brown.
Well, it is Brooks Brown. Maikel Franco coming up, and Brooks Brown is in to face him. And the Rockies have made a change. They've gotten a double switch. Nick Hundley will go in for Mike McHenry. It's kind of interesting because you double switch usually when you want the pitcher to give you some length. You're in the bottom of the 8th inning, and John Axford, who looks okay in that picture, would be the guy who would throw the 9th inning. And the only reason, again, that you, to me, you'd probably double switch, there has to be another reason maybe, is if he wasn't available and you wanted Brooks Brown to continue because the pitcher spot is due up first.
Some of the things that we don't know, because John Axford only threw 19 pitches last night, or maybe he came up a little sore, maybe he's just not feeling well, whatever. But then you would ask Brooks to come in and get the 4 outs for you.
Right. So we'll find out. Right now, first things first, Franco at the plate against Brooks Brown. Hard throwing right-hander, former #1 pick of Arizona back in 2006. Ball 1. Eddie Butler went 6 outstanding innings. Scott Oberg pitched the 7th inning. Betancourt had to leave after 2 hitters, an undisclosed injury or perhaps illness. 2-0.
One final thought on Eddie that we kind of forgot about, that he was I don't want to say an emergency starter today, but originally up until late yesterday it was going to be Jorge De La Rosa. So he went on his normal rest, but he didn't. He thought he was going to go and pitch on Monday.
Rockies pushed back De La Rosa a few more days, get that finger fully healed, the cut on it. Ground ball deep short. Troy's got it, goes the short way, and that ends the inning. So a good job by Brooks Brown. The Rockies give up a run on the Cesar Hernandez pinch home run, but they're still up 3 as we go to the 9th. At Southwest.com and by Mike Shaw Subaru, always our lowest price in sales and service guaranteed. Late Saturday afternoon in Philadelphia, PA. The Rockies 5 and the Phillies 2 as we go to the 9th inning. Coming up immediately following the game, it will be a packed Toyota postgame show with updates on Rafael Betancourt. Get you inside the clubhouse for more details. Here's Jenny. That one just flew right over my head, typically.
I got it. I got a very good chuckle out of it. Nice job, Spilly.
Spilly, I got it. That makes me feel any better. Gmar Gomez is in the ball game for the Phillies, and John Axford is up and throwing in the Rockies bullpen in preparation for the 9th.
The 5th Phillies pitcher, reliever, to come in today.
So it'll be 8, 9, and 1. Barnes, Nick Hundley, and then Charlie Blackmon. Hernandez stays in the ball game. He's at third base. Franco's out of there, and this is a ground ball toward the middle of the diamond on through. And for Barnes, his second hit of the day. He had a double and scored a run in the 7th inning. So Brandon Barnes continues to do his thing.
And then another leadoff base runner for Colorado.
And I would think here, with even though Nick Hundley's been outstanding offensively, 3 runs is nice, 4 runs even better. You build a run and
sacrifice
sack bunt here.
I'm in agreement 100%. Four's always that magic number you're looking for.
That's ball 1. And Nick now taking a look down at Stu Cole. Good speed at first in Barnes.
Maybe put the hit and run on.
Well, this is going to work out like a bunt. It's a swinging bunt. And Barnes gets to scoring position. So a couple opportunities for the Rockies to get that 4-run advantage back. Charlie Blackmon will come up. Charlie is 0 for 3, was hit by a pitch back in the 6th inning. He was robbed of a hit his last time up. Remember that ball he hit up the middle that Freddie Galvis somehow dove, fielded, and then flipped blindly behind his back.
Yeah, that's going to make more than 1 or 2 highlight reels and shows tonight. Back in the 7th inning, ball pops up off the mound, but then to have the wherewithal just to flip it anywhere within the same area code as the bag. And Freddie Galvis, a no look like a John Stockton pass that you referenced last night to Karl Malone.
There's a bunt by Blackmon, and Gomez just did get him at first. That one I don't understand as much.
No, I'd like to see him swing away to try to drive that runner in from second. Just too much towards the pitcher. If you're gonna bunt that, especially with no strikes, my rule of thumb is fair or foul. Have it that close to the line that if it's not a fair ball, then it'll go foul and you just strike 1, 0-1.
Here's DJ. 2 outs, runner at third, swung on and missed. Gomez ahead 0-1. And we have the news from the Rockies clubhouse. Evidently, Betancourt, we're being told, had to leave with flu-like symptoms. Flu-like symptoms. That's a strike, which you're disappointed. And Rafi obviously disappointed, but it's a whole lot better than something else, obviously.
Yes. And that's why when he was walking out and Keith was out there, that's what I was saying. Hopefully it's just an illness of some type and not an injury.
Probably exacerbated by the extreme heat this afternoon.
Heat and humidity.
Strike 3. And LeMahieu goes down. So the Rockies will leave a runner at third, but they'll take a 3-run lead to the bottom of the 9th in Philly. Looking for another save. Time for the CenturyLink. Link to what's next tomorrow afternoon. A couple of right-handers, Jordan Lyles and Jerome Williams. Lyles had a short outing his last time because of an injury to his big toe on his landing leg, his left leg. He's pushed back a little bit, but he's cleared enough hurdles that he is ready to go tomorrow, apparently. John Axford looking for his 9th save. He's perfect, 8 of 8. He got the final 3 outs yesterday as the Rockies won the ball game 4-1. It wasn't a save situation. It was 4-0 when he took over in the 9th. The run was unearned. So John will face Cody Ashe, Jeff Francoeur, and Carlos Ruiz.
Well, working towards the bottom part of the lineup. 19 pitches last night, just 12 on Wednesday, so he's had enough rest. Coming into today, not a problem. He's looking to nail down another victory and continue this road trip on a good note.
Pounds the strike zone at 96. We're picking up the John Axford, the signing of John Axford. It's turned into a brilliant move for the Rockies. Give Jeff Bridich a lot of credit.
You can never have too much depth, and somebody that has been familiar with that role. Over 100 saves in his career, set the record in Milwaukee.
You know it from your playing days. You cannot have too much depth.
No.
And unfortunately, Adam Ottavino goes down. LaTroy, who was the first closer for the Rockies, the initial closer, LaTroy still on the disabled list. You've really lost 2 ninth-inning guys, and then you have a guy who's done it before and done it as well as anybody for a period of time. You have him waiting in the wings.
Well, and a guy that in his own right has dealt with so much this the last 2 months in John and what he's gone through with Jameson.
Absolutely. 1-2 on Ashe. And Ashe hits it to the left side as he did yesterday to break up the no-hitter. So a leadoff single, and then you'll see Jeff Francoeur next.
You know, last night Nolan was by the bag at third base, so he hits it at shortstop. Today, if he's standing there, it's just, this is where Walt was talking about hitting against the shift today in his pregame press conference. He said hitters are going to have to learn how to change the shift and hit against it.
Well, he made an interesting observation for me in that guys who hit the ball over the wall, they're not going to change their approach because you put 3 on one side of the field. He said, but the guys that's not as big a part of their game, if they start changing, then defenses, the data will tell you maybe you don't shift against certain guys. Francoeur takes a ball. The Rockies have shifted more than any team in the National League. Tampa, look at that. I mean, the Rockies number 1 in the National League, and they haven't even done it half as much as the Rays. Rays must be shifting on pitchers. That's a base hit, and now you're going to have the tying run coming up with nobody out.
And now you look back to that last half inning where you wish you could have tacked on one more run. But the advantage that John has is that strikeout ability.
You're at the bottom of the order. Ruiz at the plate, and then you're going to see a pinch hitter. Or actually, let me correct that. Hernandez stayed in the game. So Hernandez, who hit the home run off the bench, is up next, and then Ben Revere. Get a ground ball. You have a DP candidate in Ruiz, the middle-aged catcher for the Phillies. middle-aged baseball term.
And on the back end for catching age.
Yes. Unless you're Henry Blanco.
Or Pudge Rodriguez.
Pudge Rodriguez. Fought forever. One-0.
Pretty hard slider, 91 miles an hour.
It's about the average major league fastball. 5 runs, 10 hits. An error on the Rockies. 2 runs, 8 hits. No errors on Philadelphia. They give Nolan an error on that? There wasn't an error up last inning.
When you said that, I just looking back at my book trying to figure out where.
I don't know how you give him an error. I mean, he didn't step on the bag. To me, that's, you know, it was a fielder's choice. It was you could. Whoa. When was the last time you saw that? Nick Huntley had it go off the top of his glove and pop straight up in the air. That's big. It keeps the double play in order.
High fastball pops off the top of the glove. Yeah, got it. Didn't even have to signal for a fair catch.
Two and two. To right field, pretty deep, but Carr goes there. He sets his feet, and he's going to fire a bullet at his buddy Tulowitzki. And there's one out. I'd love to watch him throw.
So much fun when he's behind the baseball. He has the momentum to go and make the throw.
It's a great camera angle of it.
Yeah, crow hop on the money. Troy says thank you. Keep the runner there. Now it's a ground ball away from shaking hands.
Ben Revere 1 for 3 and a walk. Or excuse me, Cesar Hernandez. I keep moving that.
You'll get him.
Cesar, it's nothing against you. I keep omitting you.
Maybe because he hit a home run his last at bat.
Trying to forget that. Prerequisites of being a closer is you have to have a slow heartbeat and a short memory. 2 on, 1 out. Rockies up 5-2 in the 9th.
John has both of those prerequisites.
Rolled foul. And I guess at the top of the list also is you have to have the stuff to be throwing the baseball in the 9th inning.
I guess if you didn't have the stuff, you wouldn't be the closer.
No. Just hand those jobs out. One, two. Whoa, a little bit high. 2-2.
It will make it harder with Hernandez hitting it from the left side to turn the double play. If it's hit sharply, that's what you're hoping.
2-2. Axford takes his time, makes a good throw onto first. They won't get the double play. But I really like what John did there. Instead of rushing it, he said, you know what, I got a 3-run lead. I got to get outs. And he took that extra half a count to make an accurate throw.
Well, because you know that Hernandez is coming from the left side. He turns, he spins, allows Troy to catch it and make the transfer. But you can see Hernandez wasn't even in the picture when Paulson grabbed the baseball. Yeah, if you spin and throw wildly and not set your feet, it goes into center field. You have still only one out, one run in, and now the winning run coming to the plate. So smart play from John.
Now one out away. Runners at first and third, and here's Revere. Hernandez will take off and take second base. They won't give him credit for a stolen base. Just a reminder to the infielders, you have to go across the diamond. Oh, 1.
Good numbers if you're thinking for John facing Ben. 0 for 6 in his career with a strikeout.
Phillies got an early lead against Eddie Butler. Scored a run with 2 outs on a base hit by Utley and a double by Ryan Howard. And then Eddie shut him down the next 5 innings. That's a strike. It's 1-2. And now the Rockies a strike away. Rockies got a pair of home runs in the second to take a lead they have not relinquished. Nolan Arenado, Mike McHenry home runs in the second. In the seventh, Ben Paulson hit a home run. 3-home run afternoon for the Rockies. Came in 4th in the National League in that department. Here's the 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. He's got him. Strike 3. Ball game over. John Axford 9 for 9 in save opportunities, and the Rockies have knocked off the Phils 5-2. They guarantee themselves that they've won their first series in Philadelphia since 2004. Rockies win it 5-2. They've won 3 straight. Philadelphia's now lost 6 in a row. And the Rockies getting good pitching, timely hitting, playing their best baseball since the opening 10 days of the season. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game provided this afternoon by Eddie Butler. He watched Chad Bennis yesterday, and Eddie was outstanding in perhaps his finest hour in his young big league career. He goes 6 innings, allows a run on 4 hits. He was in command the whole way, a walk and 3 strikeouts, and helped himself out defensively as well, starting a 1-6-4 double play. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. So the Rockies win it 5-2. Eddie Butler beats one of the hottest pitchers in baseball, Aaron Harang. Rockies have knocked off 2